People call it paradise on Earth, but the truth is Patagonia is breathtakingly beautiful. A place where every square meter holds a secret from the Ice Age. And every step you take could lead you to a place no human has ever set foot in. Why in the 21st century has this land retained such an unbelievably pristine beauty? Is this beauty a gift or a warning from Mother Nature? The answer lies at the very edge of the world map. Patagonia is not merely a map. It stretches along the southern spine of South America like a frontier region that has never been subdued by human hands. Split between Argentina and Chile, it runs from the dry steppe of the Atlantic coast to the jagged wall of the Andes, then collapses into fjords, glaciers, and channels that eventually surrender to Antarctica. This is where tectonic plates collide and lift towering granite spires from the ground, where the ice from the last ice age never truly receded, but lingered, reshaping valleys, creating lakes, crushing mountains into dust, and giving the water a magical blue hue. All roads leading to the greatness of ice converge at a legendary starting point. The beginning of dreams of conquering the southernmost reaches of the world. El Califate's location along Lake Argentino provides both economic and geographic advantages. This is Argentina's largest freshwater lake, is fed by multiple glaciers descending from the southern Patagonian ice field. Its glacial sediment gives the water a distinctive pale turquoise color. From the town's harbor, boats depart daily towards Spazzini Glacier, UPS Glacier, and other sections of the park accessible only by water. The shores of Lake Argentino near El Calafate are also home to seasonal flocks of flamingos. During certain times of the year, these birds gather in the shallow lagoons and wetlands surrounding the town. Their pale pink bodies and long angular silhouettes contrast sharply with the muted tones of the Patagonian steppe and the cold blue surface of the lake. Often seen moving in coordinated groups or lifting into the wind in slow formation, flamingos add a distinct ecological dimension to the region. Their presence reflects the health of the wetland ecosystems fed by glacial meltwater, reinforcing the connection between the ice fields, freshwater systems, and local wildlife. This is Lake Argentino, where meltwater from millennia-old glaciers blends with granite dust to create a mesmerizing masterpiece of color, transforming the lake's surface into a giant mirror reflecting the soul of the Ice Age. Sitting at approximately 613 feet above sea level, it covers about 546 square miles, forming an irregular shape that resembles a branching marine creature with multiple long arms extending deep into the Andes. High above the sheer cliffs that encircle a section of the lake's shore, and condors often fly over warm ocean currents. With wingspans nearly 3 m long, they glide along the cliffs overlooking the lake using the rising air currents instead of constantly flapping their wings. Amidst a warming planet where glaciers silently retreat, Puerto Moreno stands in open defiance of time, one of the very few wonders still advancing day by day. A verdant city of ice rising 230 feet above the water as the last great fortress of the Ice Age. In the heart of Los Glaciers National Park near the town of El Calafate, a wall of ice stretches across Lake Argentino like something engineered by nature at its most audacious. The exposed vase spans roughly 3 m wide. It rises about 240 feet above the water, the height of a 25-story building. And below the surface it plunges even deeper, nearly 550 feet, into the cold, silty depths. Most glaciers on this planet are retreating. Puerto Moreno is not. It exists in what scientists call a dynamic equilibrium. Snow accumulates high in the Andes, compresses into dense blue ice, and then pushes forward at nearly 6.5 feet per day. Over the past century, its total volume and area have remained remarkably stable, a rarity in a warming world. But as the glacier advances toward the Melon Peninsula, it forms a natural ice dam, splitting Lake Argentino into two sections. Water builds behind the southern arm known as Brazo Rico, rising foot by foot. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1981, it embodies movement and powerful underlying forces taking shape. From the docks near El Calafate, the farther you travel into the fjord-like arms of the lake, the steeper the landscape becomes. Granite walls rise sharply. Patagonian beech forests cling to the slopes in deep green layers. The waterway narrows and Spazzini appears. There is no road here, no boardwalks. Spazzini Glacier can only be reached by water. Unlike Puerto Moreno, which stretches wide across the lake, Spazzini rises vertically. Its ice walls tower up to 440 feet above the water, the tallest exposed glacier face in the region. The colossal icebergs gradually disappear, giving way to the majestic silhouettes of smoke-emitting mountains towering amidst the vast wilderness. We are entering Elkolen, the trekking capital of the world, a border town nestled at the foot of some of the planet's most famous granite peaks, where adventure dreams begin to become reality. This is a small border village located in the northern part of Los Glaciares National Park in Santa Cruz Province, Argentina. Established in 1985, the village was originally a geopolitical move to assert territorial sovereignty. However, no one could have imagined that a border outpost would become a mecca for trekking enthusiasts worldwide. And at the heart of that powerful allure is Mount Fitzroy, also known as Cerro Chalon, rising to over 11,171 feet. It's not the world's highest mountain, not even the highest in Patagonia, but the number has never been the measure of its legend. Fitzroy boasts sheer granite cliffs that resemble shards of shattered glass, sharp and jagged. For a long time, climbers have considered it one of the most technically challenging climbs on the planet. Here, the weather is unpredictable. Winds can whip into your face at nearly 62 miles per hour, and storms can come and go in a matter of hours. Even the most seasoned climbers have to patiently wait for days, sometimes weeks, just to find a brief moment to conquer it. The trail to Laguna de los Trees winds upward through linga forests and open valleys before climbing steeply in its final mile. This lake lies just below the granite walls of Fitzroy. In summer, the lake's water is a deep cobalt blue, nourished by meltwater from the glaciers above. In winter, it freezes into a white blanket, blurring the boundary between the lake and the sky. Its name translates to Lake of Three in honor of the three climbers who first reached the base of the mountain. Today, it marks the end of the area's most iconic hiking trail. Just west of Elkolen, beyond the forests and glacial valleys, another spire rises from the Patagonian ice field. At 10,262 feet, Cher is technically lower than Fitzroy. What makes it legendary is geometry. The mountain shoots upward like a granite needle. Its face is so steep they appear almost perfectly vertical. Nearly 90-degree walls rise on all sides, leaving climbers with nowhere to ease into the ascent. There are no gentle ridges, just sheer stone cutting into the sky. The actual summit of Cher is covered by a massive ice mass known as a frost mushroom, a bulbous protruding cap formed from compressed snow and frozen fog. Moist air from the Pacific Ocean strikes the southern Patagonian glacier plain, rising rapidly and freezing upon contact with the mountain peak. Over time, that frozen moisture accumulates outwards in fragile wind-shaped structures suspended in the air. While southern Patagonia is marked by the harshness of the Ice Age, Baralo tells a different story of life. No more howling winds or melting ice. Instead, ancient forests reign supreme and lakes lie as still as mirrors. San Carlos de Bariloche is located along the southern shore of Lake Newell Huapi in Rio Negro province, backed by the eastern slopes of the Andes. The city is often referred to as the Switzerland of South America, a nickname rooted in both geography and history. Founded in the late 19th century by immigrants from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, Bariloche developed with strong central European cultural influence. Lake Newell Huapi forms the geographic and ecological core of the region. Covering approximately 212 square miles and situated at about 2,525 feet above sea level, the lake was formed by glacial carving during the last ice age. Like Lake Argentino, its shape reflects the path of ancient ice flows, resulting in a highly irregular shoreline with multiple long branches extending into forested valleys and snow-covered peaks. The water is deep blue, clear, and consistently cold even in summer. The clarity reflects low organic sediment and the influence of glacial and mountain runoff. Lake Newell Huapi lies within Newell Huapi National Park. Established in 1934 as Argentina's first national park, the protected area includes Andean peaks, native Linga and Coihu forests, and diverse wildlife adapted to temperate mountain ecosystems. Within the lake, Isla Victoria is the largest island. It supports mixed native and introduced vegetation, along with limestone cliffs that contrast with the surrounding forest canopy. From June through August, winter snowfall transforms the surrounding mountains into the largest ski destination in South America. Cerro Catedral, located just outside the city, offers extensive ski terrain and infrastructure attracting visitors from across the continent. Barilos and Lake Noel Happy represent a different side of Patagonia. Not as harsh and arid as the south, but peaceful, poetic, and full of the vitality of temperate forests and turquoise lakes. Heading east, as the arid savanna meets the Atlantic coast, the landscape and ecosystem change dramatically. Puerto Madryn is the starting point for exploring the other side of this land, one of South America's most important marine habitats. Often referred to as the diving capital of Argentina, Puerto Madryn has built its reputation around direct access to marine wildlife. The coastline forms a broad curved bay with golden sand beaches, deep blue water, and surrounding limestone cliffs shaped by coastal erosion. Puerto Madryn also carries a distinct cultural history. The city was founded on July 28, 1865, when 153 Welsh settlers arrived aboard the ship Mimosa. They left Wales in search of a place where they could preserve their language and cultural identity. Their arrival marked the beginning of a Welsh community that would later expand into the Chubut River Valley. In stark contrast to the abundance beneath the ocean's surface is the arid steppe landscape of the Valles Peninsula extends into the Atlantic like a broad mushroom-shaped landmass connected to the mainland by the narrow Carlos Ameghino Isthmus. In 1999, UNESCO designated it a World Heritage Site due to its global importance for marine conservation. This peninsula is one of the most significant wildlife reserves in the Southern Hemisphere. The coastal structure here creates a rare geographical advantage, allowing for the closest observation of southern whales without disturbing their natural habitat. From June through December, mothers and calves gather in the protected gulf surrounding the peninsula. This is also home to the world's largest mainland population of southern elephant seals. These enormous males, some weighing up to 4 tons, occupy the pebble beaches during the breeding season. They remain mostly still to conserve energy while competing for territory with deep, resonant calls. The region is globally known for a unique predator behavior found nowhere else. Here, orcas practice intentional stranding, a high-risk hunting strategy in which they propel themselves onto the shoreline to capture sea lion pups before using the returning wave to slide back into deeper water. Inland, the terrain remains dry and windswept. Salina Grande, a salt basin located approximately 130 feet below sea level, is among the lowest points in South America. The depression reinforces how geologically varied this peninsula truly is. The biodiversity of this land is not concentrated only along the coastal strip, but extends deep inland. On the vast grasslands, guanaco camels move in small herds, always maintaining a safe distance but coordinating their movements as they cross the plains. The contrast between the tranquil steppe landscape and the vibrant life beneath the ocean is the soul of the Valdez Peninsula. Every square meter of land and every wave carries within it a story of adaptation and the indomitable spirit of survival. At the southern edge of Argentina lies Ushuaia, widely known as El Fin del Mundo, the end of the world. It is recognized as the southernmost city on Earth, serving as the capital of Tierra del Fuego province. The island of Tierra del Fuego is separated from mainland South America by the Strait of Mellon, creating a natural boundary between the continent and the subpolar frontier. Ushuaia occupies a narrow strip of land between the Marshall Mountain Range and the Beagle Channel. Its location defines its identity. Beyond this point, there are no major cities, only open ocean and nearly 600 miles to the south, Antarctica. More than 90% of Antarctic expeditions worldwide depart from Ushuaia. The city functions as the primary logistical gateway for scientific missions and expedition cruises heading toward the Antarctic Peninsula. Stretching east to west for approximately 150 miles, the Beagle Channel separates the main island of Tierra del Fuego from smaller Chilean islands to the south. The channel was named after HMS Beagle, the ship that carried Charles Darwin during his early explorations. Today, its cold waters support marine wildlife and active navigation routes. Among the most recognizable landmarks in the channel is the Leclerc's Lighthouse. Painted in red and white horizontal bands, it stands on a small rocky islet surrounded by open water. Though often associated with the phrase lighthouse at the end of the world, popularized by Jules Verne, the structure remains an operational navigational beacon, rather than a symbolic relic. The surrounding islands host colonies of South American fur seals and melanic corants. These species gather on exposed rock formations, resting and nesting along the channel's edge. To the west lies Tierra del Fuego National Park, Argentina's only coastal national park. It combines subantarctic beach forests, mountain slopes, freshwater rivers, and marine inlets within a single protected area. The park reflects the ecological transition between continental South America and the polar environment. Within the park lies La Pataya Bay, the southern terminus of Highway 3, and the Transamerican Highway. La Taya is formed by expansive coastlines, pea bogs, and tranquil inlets. Ushuaia also preserves a chapter of penal history. The end-of-the-world train or Tren de Line del Mundo originally transported timber cut by prisoners from surrounding forests to the Ushuaia prison. Today this is the world's narrowest gauge tourist steam train line. In stark contrast to the image of penguins among icebergs, Punta Tumbo presents a different landscape where these creatures dominate the bushy grasslands and coastal pebble beaches of Patagonia. It is home to the largest population of melanic penguins on the continent, with seasonal numbers reaching hundreds of thousands, and in years of high breeding, potentially exceeding 1 million individuals. They are about 27 in tall and are distinguished by 2 black stripes across their chest and neck, a key identifying feature that sets them apart from other penguin species. Unlike emperor penguins, they do not live in the polar ice. Instead, they inhabit the temperate climate of Patagonia, migrating seasonally between the Argentinian coast and offshore waters. The terrain is dry and windswept. The soil is soft and sandy, dotted with low shrubs and sparse vegetation. These conditions are ideal for nesting. Magellanic penguins dig burrows into the ground or shelter beneath bushes to protect their eggs and chicks from predators and sun exposure. The coastline combines pebbled beaches with cold, deep blue Atlantic water, forming a natural boundary between nesting grounds and feeding routes. Exploration of Patagonia would be incomplete without a piece of the puzzle. Western Andes, Patagonia, Chile, a land of highly fragmented terrain where sheer canyons and deep fjords create one of the most challenging territories to conquer on the planet. The geological complexity of Chile suddenly settles into a symbol of balance representing the Andes Mountains. Often compared to Japan's Mount Fuji, the Osorno volcano is famous for its perfectly symmetrical conical structure, a masterpiece sculpted over centuries by the power of fire and volcanic ash. The volcano reaches approximately 8,700 feet above sea level. Although not among the tallest peaks in the Andes, its southern latitude ensures that its summit remains snow-covered year-round. The white snowcap contrasts sharply with the dark gray and black volcanic rock beneath, making it one of the most visually distinct mountains in southern Chile. Osorno is classified as an active stratovolcano, though it is currently dormant. Its symmetrical structure reflects relatively stable eruptive patterns compared to more irregular volcanic systems. The surrounding terrain shows evidence of past lava flows that shape the broader landscape. The volcano stands along the southeastern shore of Lake Lonquo, Chile's second-largest lake. On clear days, the perfectly shaped cone of the volcano is reflected in the crystal-clear waters of the lake, creating an iconic backdrop often featured on Chilean travel postcards. At the base of the volcano lies the Petro Waterfalls. Here, turquoise water from the Petro River flows rapidly over hardened black basalt formations. Remnants of ancient lava flows from Erno. The contrast between the bright glacial water and the dark volcanic rock highlights the geological connection between the mountain and the river system. This place is a testament to the Earth's sculptural power and the soul of Chile's Patagonian lake region. In northern Chile and Patagonia near the border with Argentina, the Futtle-Yufu River cuts through a steep Andean valley before flowing west toward the Pacific. The river is known for its unusually clear turquoise and emerald tones. This coloration comes from glacial meltwater descending from the Andes. As glaciers grind against rock, they produce microscopic mineral particles known as glacial flour. These fine sediments remain suspended in the current and scatter sunlight, creating the river's bright blue-green appearance, especially vivid under direct sunlight. Beyond its color, Futtle is internationally recognized for whitewater rafting. Several sections of the river are classified as Class 4 and Class 5 rapids, representing some of the most technically demanding commercially navigable whitewater in the world. These stretches combine strong volume, fast gradients, and complex hydraulic features, making the river a destination for experienced rafters and kayakers. The surrounding landscape includes steep granite walls, dense forest, and open valleys shaped by both tectonic uplift and glacial erosion. Right now we are arriving at the largest island located entirely within Chilean territory, separated from the mainland by the Chacao Strait, Chiloé Island. Chiloé is internationally recognized for its wooden churches. More than 150 historic churches are scattered across the archipelago, and 16 of them were designated UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 2000. These structures were built between the 18th and early 20th centuries primarily by local communities. What makes them architecturally significant is their construction method. Instead of stone masonry, they were built entirely from native timber species such as alders. Local carpenters applied shipbuilding techniques rather than conventional architectural methods. Wooden dowels were used instead of metal nails, allowing the structures to expand and contract with moisture while resisting strong coastal winds and heavy rainfall. In Castro, the island's capital, are traditional palapaditos. These are built on tidal flats supported by wooden stilts anchored to the seabed. Originally constructed by fishing families, this design allows boats to dock directly beneath the houses at high tide. Today, many of these palitos have been restored and converted into boutique lodgings, cafes, and cultural spaces. Do you believe in a river that doesn't flow on the ground, but instead hangs suspended between the clouds? At Kula, the laws of physics seem to be turned upside down as a colossal icy entity hangs from a sheer cliff, cascading down white torrent into the valley amidst a mystical misty landscape. The glacier rests high between two mountain peaks, suspended on a near-vertical granite wall. Thousands of years ago, this ice mass extended down to the valley floor. As temperatures gradually increased and the glacier retreated, it pulled back toward higher elevations, leaving its lower section detached. What remains today is a hanging glacier, appearing as though it is caught on the edge of the mountain. The ice displays a pale clear blue tone, sharply contrasting with the dark gray granite beneath it and the deep green forest below. From the glacier's edge, melt water flows continuously. Rather than forming a river at its base, the water plunges directly over the cliff, splitting into two major waterfalls. These falls descend approximately 1,600 to nearly 2,000 feet before reaching the valley floor. Continuing along Chile's Carretera Austral, Cherokee Castillo emerges as one of the most dramatic, yet less developed mountain landscapes in Patagonia. Cerro Castillo is a massive basalt formation characterized by sharp tower-like peaks. The structure is defined by steep dark gray rock walls rising abruptly from the valley floor. Patches of permanent snow and small hanging glaciers cling to the upper slopes. The contrast between black volcanic rock, white snow fields, and exposed ice creates a stark visual composition. At the base of the massif lies Laguna Cerro Castillo. The lake's intense turquoise color comes from glacial meltwater descending from the ice fields above. Fine glacial sediment suspended in the water enhances its deep blue-green tone. The lake sits directly beneath the vertical rock faces, creating a contained alpine basin where granite, snow, and water converge within a narrow amphitheater. Gone are the jagged rocky mountain peaks. For here, nature sheds its roughness to transform itself into an exquisite sculpture on Lake General Carrera. This is a shared lake between two countries located along the border between Chile and Argentina. The western part belonging to Chile is known as General Carrot, pulled back toward higher elevations, leaving its lower section detached. What remains today is a hanging glacier, appearing as though it is caught on the edge of the mountain. The ice displays a pale clear blue tone, sharply contrasting with the dark gray granite beneath it and the deep green forest below. From the glacier's edge, melt water flows continuously. Rather than forming a river at its base, the water plunges directly over the cliff, splitting into two major waterfalls. Rara, while the eastern part in Argentina is called Lake Buenos Aires. Covering approximately 714 square miles, it is the largest lake in Chile and the second largest in South America after Lake Titicaca. The basin is exceptionally deep, reaching depths of nearly 1,935 feet. The lake occupies a glacial valley carved by ancient ice flows which gouged the landscape and left behind a long steep-sided depression that later filled with meltwater. The water is strikingly clear and often appears bright turquoise. This color results from glacial flour, microscopic rock particles ground by moving glaciers and carried into the lake by meltwater streams. These suspended sediments scatter sunlight, producing the intense blue-green tone that distinguishes the lake from typical freshwater bodies. Along the Chilean shoreline lies one of the most remarkable geological formations in Patagonia, the Marble Caves. These formations are composed of nearly pure calcium carbonate. Over millions of years, geological pressure transformed the original limestone into marble strata with white, gray, yellow, and soft pink tones. For more than 6,000 years, wave action from the lake has eroded the base of these marble formations. Continuous water movement carved arches, columns, and smooth concave surfaces, creating a network of sculpted chambers accessible only by small boat. Lake General Carrera also serves a hydrological role beyond its borders. It feeds the Baker River, Chile's most powerful river by volume. From the lake's outlet, the Baker flows westward toward the Pacific Ocean, linking the Andean watershed to the coastal fjords. Lake General Carrera represents a convergence of glacial history, geological transformation, and active water systems. A shared natural structure shaped by ice and maintained by ongoing hydrological movement. Deep within the AS region of Chile lies Laguna San Rafael, one of the most remote and visually distinct glacial environments in Patagonia. The lagoon sits inside Laguna San Rafael National Park and connects to the Pacific Ocean through a network of natural channels and fjords. Unlike inland glacial lakes, this is a saltwater lagoon directly influenced by ocean tides. Laguna San Rafael was formed by the retreat of the San Rafael Glacier, part of the northern Patagonian ice field. As the glacier pulled back over centuries, it left behind a large basin that was filled with cedar and meltwater. The surrounding terrain remains heavily influenced by glacial erosion and coastal tectonics. The surface of the lagoon is often filled with floating icebergs carved from the glacier. These blocks vary in size and shape, drifting freely under the influence of wind and tidal currents. This is the world's lowest latitude glacier closest to the equator yet still reaching sea level. Its compressed ice displays a deep saturated blue tone produced by extreme density within the glacier's core. When sunlight strikes freshly,